Oh, hi. Hi there. Haven't seen you in a while. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? 5 months, almost. 5 months. And I've had some questions on how it's gone. People have sent me messages. They're like, you just dropped off the face of the earth. Like, we got down to day 0, to day that you're going nomadic, and then you just disappeared. So what happened? Here's where we left off. I can start putting stuff in the car. I think that'll make it easier. So yeah, tomorrow is the day. 0 days to go. It's been stressful and I am so tired that I can't wait for Sunday, and on Sunday I'm just going to sleep all day, I swear. So yeah. Tomorrow I'm gonna be homeless. How exciting. So that's where I left it, and then I just like disappeared off the face of the earth. And I had lots of messages asking like how it went. That was like 4 months ago. Was it 4 months ago? The video says it's 4 months ago. It might be a bit longer than that. So yeah, that's where we left off at the end of July. And I went to Manchester and it was great. And like the first day I was absolutely exhausted. I was looking after a couple of dogs, which was harder work than I thought. The one dog in particular was really hard work. And then 3 days, just 3 days into my house sitting in Manchester, I got a text from the owners. And they said, we'll tell you about it later, but something's happened and we're coming home today. So bear in mind, I'm supposed to be in this house sit for a whole month. So I'm supposed to be there for the whole month of August. Like, that's the plan. I'm going to be there for the whole month and then I'm going to figure out where I'm going to live. Because, you know, I sold all my stuff. I've got nowhere to live. And they're coming back. So as you can imagine, I was sat there like, well, what do I do now? Where do I go now? Like, what am I supposed to do? And they said to me, like, don't worry, we'll sort something out. So yeah, the thing about house sitting is like things can happen. Like I was reading online and people were saying that they were supposed to be going on house sits and then the people couldn't go because they had COVID or some like a death in the family or something like that. And they were saying that actually it's not very common, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes something will go wrong with the sit. And they're all saying it's not very common and it doesn't happen very often. This is my first ever house sit and that's happened. Luckily for me though, I was house sitting a friend's house, so it wasn't as it didn't feel as risky, it didn't feel as big of a deal, apart from the fact that they're now coming home. Anyway, what ended up happening was they came home. They were like, don't worry, like we'll figure something out. Luckily, I travelled with an airbed. I thought, what a brilliant idea. Like if you're nomadic, if you haven't got anywhere to live, like always keep an airbed in the car. So when they got back, they put me up in their spare room. So they've got like a little office space. So they put me up in there. So I ended up living with them for about a week. I was still working online. I was still working, so I ended up living with them for about a week. And now you might be thinking, well, what happened after that week? Anyone that was following me on social media will know exactly what happened after that week. And they said to me like, look, we were supposed to be on holiday and we're not going to go back. Like we've come home, like some family things have happened and we're not going to go back out there. However, we have a lovely place in Nice in the south of France if you would like to go and stay. Like, I couldn't believe my luck. Like, so this house sit that had gone wrong for me, like I was supposed to be hanging out in Manchester for the month. Yeah, and then they were like, would you like to go hang out in Nice? Like, of course I would like to go hang out in Nice. So they let me go out to their villa in Nice. Well, it wasn't their villa, it was one that they'd hired. But it was incredible.
Yep, this is where I stayed. Can you believe it?
I had the absolute best time. And it was exactly what I needed. Like, I just had this like big experience. It was quite stressful. I just turned 30, so I was like, what do I celebrate? So I then spent 3 weeks in the south of France in a villa by myself in Nice, and oh my gosh, what an experience. I had the best time. It was so like it was exactly what I needed. I went out. I made friends by going out on pub crawls, like backpacker pub crawl. I made friends using dating apps. I just walked around. I was just like wandering around, and people would stop and talk to me. I made so many friends while I was there. I met so many incredible people. I saw so many incredible things. I rested. I swam in the pool. I took long baths. Like, I just had the absolute best time. Like, now this isn't the norm. I understand, like, this isn't normally what happens when you go house sitting, but what an incredible experience. And then you might be thinking, well, what happened when you got back? You've still got nowhere to live. So when I got back, the family who I was staying with before, who sent me up to Nice, they said to me, like, you know, you can stay for a little bit if you want, you can hang around for a little while. And I didn't know what to do next, so I did. So I stayed there for a week. And then they were like, oh, well, if you want, like, you can stay for a little bit longer. And I was helping out. They've got 2 kids, and I was helping out. I was, you know, just kind of being there for them, being there with them. Yeah, and I was searching for the next thing, so I was searching on a website called Trusted House Sitters. If you're interested in house sitting, I highly recommend it. It's great. I haven't actually had a house sit on there yet. I've spoken to lots of people. Anyway, that's another story. But I was looking for my next house sit, and it just wasn't happening. Like, it just wasn't coming through. And then my dad went away, so I spent a week at my dad's house while he wasn't there. And then I came back to Manchester again to stay with them. And then after a little while, they said to me, well, why don't you just stay? Like, the kids were like, don't go. Like, every time I left, the kids were like, don't go, don't leave. When are you coming back? So yeah, after a while, they were like, why don't you just stay? And that's what's happened. And I have been living here in Manchester. I've been living with them. It has been this gorgeous, wholesome experience. I've been living this, like, I've spent a lot of time alone over the past few years. Like, you know that previously from my previous videos, I was living with a couple of housemates, but before that I was living completely on my own in an apartment in Cardiff. Before that I was living on my own in London. Before that I was living on my own in an Airbnb during the lockdown. I was living on my own in Newport. So I spent a lot of time alone over the past few years. And now I'm living with people, and now I'm living, and there's this like family unit we're living in, and it's just really nice. Everyone's there for each other, and I usually get SADS, so that's like seasonal adjustment dysphoria disorder, like, I'm not sure what it is, but it's, you know, when it gets dark, it's raining all the time, the sky's always grey, when you know, the days are really short, I usually feel really down, don't want to get out of bed, I'm usually like crying all the time, and that's one of the reasons that I started this journey. This is one of the reasons I decided that I was going to leave the place that I was at in Cardiff, was because the last winter was so hard. Like, I massively struggled last winter. And I think that's it. So you're up to date. That is what I've been up to over the past few months. That's how the journey ended. That's how the journey went. That's how the journey's going. Am I still nomadic? I don't even know, because they asked me to move in with them. I was like nomadic for like a couple of months. And now I am just living with a family, basically. They have now got a lodger. And that is me. I'm still living a nomadic life though. I'm currently house sitting, so I will update you on that in the next video. on what it's like house sitting over Christmas. It's been loads of fun. Anyway, I will save that for the next video.